Okay, today we're going to have a look at Serif PagePlus. This is our desktop publishing software which we use in the CDT department. So first thing we're going to do is open up the template that we're using for this project. So you'll find it within our elective graphic design folder within data year 2. So it's called typography template. So we'll open that up and you'll have the template. So a couple of wee things about Serif PagePlus. There are a lot of icons around the page running down the left hand side, along the top and down the right hand side as well. There's a lot of wee tabs and things that you can accidentally click on. I do find that sometimes people accidentally drag things onto the page and get themselves in a wee bit of a muddle. You don't need to panic. It's very easy to fix your workspace or your user interface. You go up to View, you go into Tabs, and you tell it to be the default workspace, and that will solve all those wee issues for you. So don't panic. I tend to just minimize this area here because it's not something I'm going to be using, particularly for this current project that we're working on. So a couple of things to point out. Whenever we want to select something, we go up to the black arrow called the pointer tool, and I'm able to select this text here. I know it's selected because I have these white dots around the outside. We call these handles, and I can see this sort of green boundary around it, and I've got the move tool here that I can click and drag that around the page. I sometimes find people try and move it with the white circle, they accidentally rotate it, and then they try and fix that problem. They get themselves in a little bit of a mess there. It's quite simple. We have the undo button. So we can click on it and it will undo the last thing you have done. But there's also a pull down menu. It will show you everything that you have been doing. So I'm going to undo both of those. So that's fine. So we don't need to worry too much about that. I'm just going to move this down a little bit. Let's talk a wee bit about editing this text. If I want to make it bigger, what sometimes happens is people will select it, they'll maybe grab this handle here, and then they'll try and grab it here, and then they'll try and adjust it to get it to where we need it to be. This ends up with the text, or it could have been done with an image where you've got something that has been stretched and doesn't look very nice. So let's undo that. We'll undo all of those resizes that we've done and just grab one of the corner handles. What that'll do is it'll stretch, but it'll keep the ratio. So it'll keep the ratio of the height compared to the width of this text that we're trying to change. Another way to do it is by selecting it all, and just like you do in Word, we can change the font size. So we can go in here and we can adjust that size to whatever we would like it to be. Also, just like in Word or some of these other softwares that you would use, we can select that and change the type font. So we're going to change it and just have a play about with different font styles today. Other things we might want to do, we might want to think about the colour of the font. So we need to go over here to our colour tab. Here we have the text font colour, and we can simply use this colour bar down here to adjust that. So currently I've got it in a kind of orangey colour or green or whatever we want. We can also go into swatches. Swatches are handy because I tend to stick to the standard RGB colour palette. So within here, I have set colours that I may use. So I'm just going to set this to, I'm going to go for a fairly light colour actually. So we'll go with this kind of cyan colour. It's not great against the white, so we need to do something about that. Next to the font or the text colour, we have the line colour. Currently it's set to nothing. So that's this grey and white box. So I'm just going to adjust that. I'm going to give it a fairly dark purple colour. You can't really see what's happening, so we want to zoom in. So I'm going to hold the control button, hover over the text, and I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse to zoom in. If I don't hover over the text, I will zoom in on the area that my cursor is on. So I'm just going to zoom back out, hover over the text. I still have the control button held down at the moment. And now that I'm zoomed in, you can see there is a purple line. It's quite thin. So let's adjust the line thickness. So we need to go into the line tab. Currently the line thickness is set to 1. I'm going to adjust this up to 5 just to show you what would happen. Let's maybe readjust it down to half thickness. We'll just zoom out a wee bit to show you what we've now got. So if I wanted to change the colour of the font, I go into the colour tab, I make sure I've got my text selected. I can use this bar down here, or I can go into swatches and use a specific colour if that's what I want to do. A reminder, I can adjust the line colour in this mode here as well. It's very important you've got it selected, so I still had the text colour selected, so I'm just going to go back and set that to purple. Then I'm going to go into my line colour and I'm going to adjust that and maybe make it a kind of blue colour, or maybe I want to have the yellow or something like that. So you can just play about with those settings now. So in a nutshell, that's how to move an object like text or an image around the page. I've introduced the undo button, and I've introduced the colour tab, the swatch tab and the line tab, and we've spoke a wee bit of how to move and how to adjust the size of things. So that's the first wee steps in Serif PagePlus that I need you to be familiar with. Last wee thing, I'm just going to go up to View, and I'm going to go View, Zoom, and I'm going to go Full Page. Control 3, if you can remember, is a handy button. So Control 3 will zoom to the whole page. So have a go and see how you get on.